Presenting you my Premier League matches of the week. Arsenal against Manchester United. I'm going to go with Arsenal for the win. When you look at Arsenal in their schedule, they have Everton next. They have the Toffees next. And so with the victory, Arsenal are going to have 3 wins in 1 draw before facing off against the Toffees. Toffees is Gamacha 31. So Arsenal, it's going to be 10 points in 4 matches, 104 after they beat the Devils. The Devils is Gamacha 104. It's going to be a win. It's going to be 4 matches and 3 wins for Arsenal, looking to become a champion. Champion is 43. It's Manchester. That's Gematria 43. It's also Eric Ten Hag is Gematria of 43. 4 matches and 3 wins for Arsenal. So that's what's in store for that game. Also, Arsenal face off against Everton next. Everton FC is Camacho 45. Arsenal's next opponent is Everton. If Man United concede first, they would have 4 goals and 5 conceded for the season. Brighton FC is Camacho 57. Brighton Football Club. Manchester United face off against Brighton. Let's say if they lose, well, I'll probably go 3-1 for Arsenal. Man United, 5 goals and 7 conceded. I think this is the match that they're going to get completely exposed. Now, Brentford, I like Brentford are going to get the 3 points against Brighton. It's going to be 4 matches and 8 points for Brentford. It is Brentford. That's Gematria of 48. So in case if you haven't noticed yet, a new method to the madness, the matches played point sequence is going to be a very key method, especially when we're at single digits right now. So 4 matches, 8 points. Brentford is Gematria of 48, and just looking into next week, they face off against Newcastle. If it's going to be a 5th match and they're going to lose to Newcastle, it's 5 matches, 8 points when we're looking at the Gematria of Newcastle United. So that's the following match for Brentford, but that's what I see happening for Brentford coming up in the next couple of weeks. Wolves against well, let's go with Everton and Sheffield United. I mean, for Everton, I can see 5 matches and 0 points after they lose against the Gunners. The Gunners is Gematria 50, so that's looking ahead to the following week. I like Sheffield United in a victory over Everton after they were beating Man City late, but then they lost. But Sheffield United are going to get a win. 4 matches, 3 points. Manchester's 43, as you saw. If Sheffield United win 2-0, they have 4 goals scored and 5 conceded. Again, it's Everton FC. That's 45. So it can get pretty ugly very, very quickly. Everton are gonna, well, they need a striker. They need Moise Kean from Juventus. It looks like they may need Kean back. There's no striker. I like Sheffield United for the victory in that one. I like the Blades over Everton. And Sheffield United, if they win 1-0 over Everton, they would enter the Tottenham match with 3 goals scored and 6 conceded for the season. Tottenham is Camacho 35, so I like Sheffield United in a victory. And, if Bournemouth lose to Brentford, they'd still be in the relegation zone, so keep that in mind. Crystal Palace against Wolves. What intrigues me is that Wolves in 4 matches can have 6 points. Crystal Palace is Camacho 46. Crystal Palace, if they lose 2-0, they can have 2 goals scored and 2 conceded. 4 conceded. Wolves is Camacho 24. Crystal Palace, they can have 4 matches and 4 points for the season. Their next opponent is Aston Villa. It's Aston Villa FC. That's Camacho 44. And their next opponent's Aston Villa. If Crystal Palace, if Wolves score first, or actually I was reading that wrong earlier. If Wolves score first, they have 3 goals scored and 5 allowed. If Wolves score first, because that's the next opponent for Crystal Palace. And Wolves could win 2-1. They could have 4 goals scored, 6 allowed. Again, Crystal Palace is 46. So I'm liking Wolves in that one. Fulham is going to lose against. Let's go with the Camacho Blades quickly. Sheffield United. Blades is Camacho 43. Sheffield United 4 matches, 3 points. Looking promising for the Blades this week. Four matches, 6 points for Aston Villa if they lose to the Reds. Reds is Camacho 46. Newcastle, Brighton, it can go either way. Brighton 4 matches, 6 points. Same thing with Newcastle. Newcastle are coming off the match against the Reds. I think this one will produce quite a bit of goals. Man United is coming up next for Brighton. As we look at Brighton, 4 matches and 9 points entering the match against Man U, because Man U is Camacho 49. So, Brighton and Newcastle, that one can get pretty tricky. It can. 3 points in 4 matches if you look at it that way for Newcastle. The Reds is 34, Magpies is 34, so tricky. Another possibility too with Brighton is if the match ends in a draw, 4 matches and 7 points, and then they would probably lose to Man United in the next match. I mean, Man United are pretty mediocre, as you see. So yeah, I go Liverpool over Villa because what if this is the last game or whatever before he heads off to Saudi Arabia. I don't know when their transfer window ends. So is this going to be a week where everyone keeps pace with Man City? I mean, one of these teams are bound to lose. The West Ham get Man City next. So what if West Ham are on top of the table before they, 3 matches and a win for West Ham before facing off against Man City, because it's Man City that's Camacho 31. 10 points, 4 matches for West Ham. Their next opponent, Manchester City. Manchester City Football Club is Camacho of 104. West Ham to get a win, it looks like. I can see 3. Let's see here. Now, Nottingham Forest, are they going to Chelsea over Nottingham Forest. They're called Forest sometimes. Six points in 5 matches for Chelsea. The Chelsea Football Club by itself is 65. Actually 66. But why do I think Chelsea equals 65? Let's see. Pochettino is 53. That's Camacho at Chelsea. You know, that's why he's with Chelsea in the first place. So, is it going to be 5 matches and 3 points for Nottingham Forest following the conclusion of their Chelsea match if that's who Burnley get their first points against? So, okay, take a look at Burnley right here. Burnley and Tottenham. It's are they going to get some points this week? Is Everton pretty lonely at the bottom of the table? Burnley and then Sheffield United. Oh, let's just say this: if Tottenham win, if Arsenal win, if they keep on winning, North London Derby could get pretty interesting in a couple of weeks on September 24th. So we'll see if it's a new era or if Tottenham drop points. I mean, possible. If Burnley do win, it's worth noting that Burnley Football Club is 74. It'd be 7 points in 4 matches for Spurs. They get the Blades after this. They get Sheffield United. Sheffield is also Camacho 74. So there is Burnley could win this. They could win. Although I like to see where the match is being played at. That Turf Moor. That interesting. Let me go to Kompany quickly. So, this is a 35th win against Tottenham. It's Tottenham, that's 35, so there's value for Burnley this week, too.